This is Samuelo, and on my channel we discuss organizational, training and tactical aspects of the game called futsal. Let's go! In this video we're gonna talk about training speed, right? So this is a kind of training which is very common to futsal because the speed is one of the key elements of futsal. It doesn't matter really which tactic you are using, what players do you have, you at some point, at some degree, you will always train speed. Whether you will concentrate on it as a main aspect or whether you will just train it a little less often than other things, but you will still have to train this because the futsal is a very dynamic and fast sport and you have to have speed in order to play it. To actually train speed, you have to understand what speed is all about. There are three types of speed. First is speed of reaction, and the speed of reaction is something that you are born with, right? You can train it a little bit during the training process, but not significantly. This is something that stays with you. You either have this very good reaction speed or don't. If you don't have a very good reaction speed, you can improve it a little bit until a certain level, but you won't be able to improve it like into a maximum level. Another type of speed is the speed of a certain movement. For example, how fast do you turn, or how fast do you, for example, move your leg or move your arm, for example. So this is something that can be trained. It can be trained from zero and until maximum. So this is what you can concentrate on, and you can really benefit from this kind of training. The training of a certain speed of a certain movement. Another type, the third type of speed is the speed of is like the frequency of movements, right? For example, how many movements you can make during a certain time or period, right? For example, during 10 seconds you can make like 20 or 30 or 50 movements, right? So this is the speed of frequency of movement. This is also something that can be trained also from zero until the maximum level. So if you do concentrate on this, this is also pretty good beneficial. You get a good benefit from this kind of training. Okay, so when you are training speed on a training session, you have to understand that again there are three aspects that you have to remember about. First of all, in order to train speed of the players effectively, you have to put them in the drill which they already know well. So they don't use these valuable moments to think about what to do. They have to know what to do during this drill. Another thing, of course, is that when you are training speed and when you are taking the certain drill to do this, you have to understand whether those players that you have are actually capable of doing this. Are they technically good equipped to do this kind of drill? So they have to be, the technique level should be enough to perform these drills. So again, so they don't use their time so nothing stops them really to train speed, right? So don't use their brain too much to think what to do next, or don't use the bad technique as something that stops them from going on a maximum speed, for example. Third aspect is that you have to train speed during one drill with certain sections. So for example, the maximum time of the section of the training has to be 10-12 seconds. So 12 seconds is maximum. For example, if you make a whistle and the player runs as fast as he can only run for 12 seconds. Well, he can run, for example, further, more than 12 seconds, but then until after this he won't be training speed, he will be training like speed endurance, if you will, right? So this kind of another type of speed, right? So you have to understand very well what is the difference between training speed and between training speed endurance, right? So this is the 12 seconds mark. Also, in order to make your speed training effective, you have to make your players to get some rest, right? So and there is a system. For example, if the player runs for 10 seconds, he has to then after this stop and rest for 150 seconds. So it's just 10 seconds 15 times. If the player runs, for example, for 6 seconds, then he has to be resting for 90 seconds. So this is the rule. If he starts earlier, his muscles won't be ready to work at their maximum, and again he won't be training speed, he will be training this speed endurance. I am usually trying to train this speed with the ball, because I have like only 2 training sessions in a week, and that's why I have to use my time in a maximum way, in a better way as possible, right? So I'm not only training speed, but also I'm making my players work with the ball. For example, if he has to run on his maximum speed, I'm giving him the ball and he runs with the ball. Certainly you have to also be training at some point this speed without ball. In the commentary section to this video, tell me how often do you train speed on your training session, and when you do this, in what part of the season you're doing it. In the pre-season, in the mid-season, or during the season, for example. If it's during the season, whether it's the start of the season or whether it's the end of the season, when do you do this? Also, don't forget that if you're subscribed to my channel, you get to see more videos than you're in a situation when you're not subscribed. So I suggest you subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Take care.